Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to episode 47 of Practical Chrome. I can't remember what it's labeled because I'm terrible. But it had to do with something like, when things get hairy. That's what I was going to say, when things get hairy. Anyway, everyone, welcome to Practical Chrome 47, the show dedicated to everything Chrome. Whether it be Chromebook, or whether that be Chrome on your browser, or whether that be Chrome anywhere. Chromecast, we got it, and we say cheers to you, happy holidays, and let's get on with the show. Gentlemen, Craig Tumbleson and James Welbus, the two guns on my battleship, are also with me today. Craig, how are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm confused, John. I'm doing well, but I'm kind of confused. You did such a big Chrome lead-in, but in reality, all anybody wants to hear about tonight is Android 5.0.1.
No. James, how are you?
Hi. I'm fine. Good enough.
Craig, Craig, I will let you. You can opine about your 5.0 if you'd like. Of course, this is Practical Chrome. Chrome runs on Android like butter in a skillet. It's just sliding around, getting all melty and gooey. Are you gonna mention Craig? Look at like dead air. Come on, man. But do you have anything? I know that you wanted to talk about 5.0. I hear good things about 5.0. I don't have L myself.
No, I told you I was going to give you a lead-in for you to start talking about Android apps. That was my lead-in, John.
Oh, well.
The silence there was really a fault of your expectations for me. They need to be lower, John.
I assumed that you would take the helm.
They need to be lower.
I'm making a lot of ship comments this evening. Or was that comments? I don't know which. Anyway, let's talk about the news. We'll get into the whole app thing. I do want to bring that up just because people are interested. People want to know about why Android apps are coming to Chrome OS, and I want to share the love. Anywho, let's get into the news, though, because there is a lot of news, and I think that I do want to touch on the first subject is it's very newsy, and it's one of those things that I'm gonna comment after Craig and James kind of go over it, because again, Craig and James have been incredibly helpful in the product forums, and they know what's going on, and I want to let them talk about it. But Craig, I'll have you lead off. Looks like there's been some issues with some systems when it comes to Chrome OS. Can you kind of go over that and maybe let everybody know what to look out for and possible workarounds?
Sure. This is just a general public service announcement. I know a lot of our listeners have Chromebooks or they're in charge of deploying Chromebooks. There have been a lot of issues recently with a couple different models. We're not sure on coverage yet, so I don't want to overspeak. But specifically the Samsung Series 550. Some of these units are getting stuck in a boot loop on the stable channel. And essentially what the symptom is you start the device or you log out of the device, and instead of your user profile popping up where you type in your password, the device simply continues to restart and restart and restart. The workaround at the moment is to do a USB recovery, and then, because Chrome OS does automatically update in the background, the recommended advice at the moment is to not shut the device off. Just close the lid, wake back up from sleep, don't actually sign off or power off your device. We know this is very inconvenient, and we do apologize, and we thank you for your patience. The team is aware. I don't have any updates to share on development or progress or anything like that. But the feature first popped up Monday night, late Monday night, and the team knew about it then. So they've had some lead time. I'm hoping for a solution soon because I feel really bad for users. I actually have a Samsung Series 550. I was able to reproduce it. I took a video and submitted my documentation and notes. So hopefully that information can help, and hopefully I'm looking forward to a solution, recognizing that this is a pretty big issue for a lot of people.
James, what about you? What have you seen out there in regard to the comments? I mean, I've got my own, I guess, my own comment on that. But what are you seeing yourself out there on the product forum?
Well, definitely seeing a lot of frustrated people. Also seeing a lot of people trying to be helpful, but there's really not much that anybody can do at this point, other than wait. It's a little scary. At first, I think we thought it was specifically Samsung 550s. Now it looks like it may be possible that there may possibly be other Samsung models involved. I don't know for sure. But yeah, it's just kind of a crazy poop storm right now. A lot of unhappy users.
I do enjoy the terminology. It is kind of a crazy poop storm. It does sound like basically that someone made a mistake and they're going to fix it, and that everyone, if they can do their best to be patient. It sounds like it's something that it's not something that Google or the development team would ever have wanted to happen to anyone, and so they're doing their best to fix it right now. And I just hope that everyone listening who knows about the issue or maybe be experiencing it understands that it's something that will be fixed, and that it wasn't meant to happen, of course. So and we just ask for your patience. So,
and I want to throw out too that Chrome OS is not perfect. We do occasionally have one or two major bugs that are just a pain in the butt for everybody. And I know on this show we talk down to Microsoft and Apple and a lot of other companies. Google's not perfect either, and we're the first to admit that. There are shortcomings, and occasionally there are literally show-stopping bugs. And when they come up, we like to do our best to inform people about them. If there are available workarounds, we'll preach those to the heavens, and hopefully once we're past this, we can all figure out what went wrong and make sure it doesn't go wrong again.
Totally agree. Thanks, Craig. I think that my final thought on this is that the kind of what Craig said about the everybody has bugs, and I think that no matter what news you read, you're gonna see negative news, and honestly, errors made with a lot of different manufacturers, companies, things like that. I think that Chrome OS is different in the fact that they're giving you the cutting edge every 6 weeks, and right now you're seeing a little bit of a hiccup. So, but again, I think the patience and understanding. I think there's a lot of people out there that do kind of understand that, but there are other people that don't. They consider it that they bought something and it should work right and everything should be good. I do know that Google actually does a very good job of benchmarking, testing, iterating before pushing out code to a stable release. So I think this is definitely something that just squeaked in there as an accident. So I think that it's just something that everyone just hold on and it'll get fixed. So awesome stuff. Not exactly the best news in the world, but what can you do? What can you do? Grin and bear, right? All right, let's get on to some happy news. Happy news. That's my happy news voice. More Android apps coming to Chrome. Now this is where I was, going to jump in with my. Here's the thing. James, have you installed any apps that are specifically built for Android, and you now have installed them from the Chrome Web Store and they work and you use them every day?
No.
Yes, and Mr. Tumbleson, what about yourself?
I have installed a couple because I wanted to test if they would work and how optimized for Chrome OS they were, and I am happy to report I have not checked back in on that.
So, and you know what? I'm gonna be with you there. here's my 30-second take on this. I've installed. Yep, 30 seconds. And go.
27, 26.
I'm long-winded, all right? But the point is that there are more apps coming to Chrome, and I think that people want to know about this because they hear things like, "Hey, you can run Android apps on your Chrome device," and honestly, it's a bunch of hooey because of one major fact. I installed one app that was literally a direct port. There are some applications that have been optimized for Chrome OS, in a sense, but they're the Android version, but they've been slightly tweaked and ported properly. In the article on OMG Chrome, Joe does a really good job of kind of going over just the apps that have been launched this time. And in further articles back, if you actually go to his website, again, at omgchrome.com, and you click on the category link of Android apps for Chrome, you can read all the articles that he's written about Android apps for Chrome. So you can kind of dig into the history of this type of stuff. So I love podcasts, right? We produce one. At least used to put out the MP3. There's one out there called Podcast Addict, which I have the Android app. The Chrome app is an identical version, which means that you have this long, landscape Chrome OS device, and you're trying to launch this app that was built for portrait, so the icons are kind of too small. It's built for touch on a small device. It's terrible. I love Podcast Addict. Is actually a really good app. There's a number of different podcast apps out there, but for Android, Podcast Addict is a really good one for your Android device. For Chrome OS, I just have to be honest, it was terrible. I mean, even if I had a touch screen, even if I had the 720p Acer model, I don't think I'd be very happy because it just wasn't very intuitive. Craig, did you experience kind of the same thing?
Yeah, a lot of the apps I tried were clearly designed with mobile in mind. And unfortunately, mobile design language does not translate very well to the desktop, and vice versa, which we've seen with the backlash to Microsoft's Metro UI. It was very much designed with mobile in mind. On Surface tablets, I'm sure it's fantastic. But on the desktop, when you've got a cursor and a mouse as your primary input, it's just not a seamless experience. And even Material Design, I don't think, has truly mastered it yet. I think we're getting better, but I don't think there's a single comprehensive design language that speaks well to all platforms available today.
I agree. But now some apps, they'll say like available on Android, right? That's the link inside of the Chrome Web Store. The thing is that if they've been optimized for Chrome OS, they're really good. If they're just literally direct port, you're going to have that oh wait, if I was on my Android, what would I click? I literally had to think to myself, what would I click, on the app? And I think, Craig kind of points it out, is when you're on mobile, you kind of have that mobile sense and feel, but when your direct input is mouse and keyboard or trackpad and keyboard, wherever you're going, it's going to be a little bit different. I did download one of the popular games for kids, and also an app called Journal by Journey, go figure. And that app is actually really quite astounding. I really enjoyed it. I thought it's a really good app, as well as Pocket. I've used Pocket before. The app in the past has been kind of shoddy, to be honest, and I don't know if this is just literally just the same Chrome app again. I think it is. But the SightWords app for the kids, that was a direct port, and it worked actually pretty well because they kept the size right and everything kind of worked the same way. You could use your mouse to make the same connections that a kid would. So I'm for it in a sense, but when you go to that link, and this is going to be my last comment about this, is when you go to the App Store and you say apps for Android, and you click them, if you go to the reviews, you're going to find really quickly if it's literally just a link to a JavaScript / HTML5 version of the app that's on Android. And so you can sign in with your same password and username, or you can sign in with your Google account, and you're going to get all of your data, but literally just opening another link. And you can have a bookmark for that. I know that's been played out for a while, that you can just have a bookmark for that. But people search in the web store for the apps that they want, and sometimes they want an app icon that they can just click. But I guess we'll wrap up with that. And honestly, the string of apps that Joey's talking about in the article, about 7 more apps, I'd never even heard of some of them. James, had you heard? I don't know if you've had a chance to read the article, but he's got 6 new apps. I think it's actually 7 because one of them is now available. No, it's 6. But Couchsurfing, Overdrive, CookPad, PackPoint, HomeAway, and AnkiDroid. Have you used either one of the or any of those apps? James?
I have not heard of any of those apps.
Craig, what about you?
I've heard of Couchsurfing. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Couchsurfing.
But I assumed it was just a website. I don't know why you would need a dedicated app for it. And when I first read Overdrive, I assumed it was OneDrive and got kind of excited before I realized, no, it's not OneDrive, and no, Microsoft's not calling it OneDrive anymore. Are they?
No, is it SkyDrive now?
No, I think it is OneDrive now. It used to be SkyDrive. But then they got in trouble. Yeah, because they got in trouble with Sky.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was MSN Drive now.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, MSN.
You should call it Poop Drive.
I'm on ships. James is on scatological subjects. The Overdrive I've actually heard of, because when my wife and I were both working and driving a long drive for work, we used to get audiobooks, and we get them from the library. You get the CD. But Overdrive actually allows you to get audiobooks from the library, but you have to have the AudioDrive app. And at the time, it wasn't built and ready for like Android. You had to have an iPhone. So it's actually kind of exciting for me to see that, although I don't need it anymore. I literally have like 15 podcasts I listen to now. So I don't listen to books anymore. But Overdrive I'd heard of, which was kind of cool. So you can rent or you can borrow library EPUB books, or you can get audiobooks. It's kind of cool. But the point is about all this is some of these are literally just links, and so it'll say apps for Android, and it's just a link to a website. So that's not cool. And then you have the fact that some of them are built for literally mobile in mind, and literally they're a direct port of the Android app, which only works in portrait or only works in landscape. If it works on landscape on a device, I think you're going to have a much better experience. But if it only works in portrait, which Podcast Addict, I think, only works in portrait, or if it gets longer, you're like, oh, okay, you understand it more. But it was just a bad experience. Any last thoughts on... we're not really going to cover it as like a main subject, but any other final thoughts on Android apps for Chrome OS? James, what are your final thoughts? What are your Jerry Springer final thoughts?
No.
Excellent. Mr. Tumbleson, your Jerry Springer, camera right in the face, wrap up the subject of Android apps on Chrome OS. For right now, December 2014. What are your final thoughts?
Find a way to give people the apps they actually want.
Ooh! Nice. I'm right there with you, man. Right there with you. I'm with James and Craig. No. Give us what we want, please. All right. More apps coming to Chromecast. Now, here's a device we can all get happy about. I know that there was a lot of Black Friday sales on the device. I know that I've been using mine like a champ. Super exciting, right? Comedy Central, TuneIn, and others coming to the cast of Chrome. Awesome stuff. James, I'm going to turn to you first because I know that you're a Chromecast guy through and through, down to the bottom there. What do you think of the fact that, I mean, there's actually other news in regard to Chromecast. I mean, we could literally, like, I don't know if we've got everything going on here, but we've got Firefox and Android. For Android can now mirror tabs over to Chromecast. They're taking over the Apple TV in media streaming sales. And this is all sexy as hell. When I scroll through the notes, though, I have to go through all the no's about the Android apps. But I digress. James, what are your thoughts on the fact that Chromecast really is catching on?
I think it's exciting. My Chromecast tends to be a little buggy here and there. So the more attention Chromecast gets, the more it can catch on, the more serious it gets taken by Google, the better for everybody, I think. I personally am at the point where I would be ready for an upgrade if they put out another Chromecast. Maybe it costs $45 instead of $35, but had a little more capability. I'd be all about that. So any news that brings more functionality to, or more attention in a positive way to Chromecast, the better. I really, really hope that the Chromecast doesn't go away. I hope that it just keeps getting better, and I think it will. I haven't seen any signs that it's going to be a failed project in any sort of way. It's just so darn cheap and handy and amazing. And Comedy Central's a good addition. Nickelodeon's a good addition. The other ones seem cool too. But I'm personally excited to be able to watch The Daily Show on my Chromecast.
Good boy.
Colbert Report.
The Colbert Report. Man, if I had the Eagle call right now, perfect. Craig, all Eagle calls, you know. Besides, what do you think? And you know what? Actually, wait a minute. Let me go back to James for a second. What are you looking for a $45 device? What are you looking for? Because the Chromecast, remember, is meant to be a casting device, right? So it casts something else. It doesn't actually do, like, there's no, like, you know, GPU on there that can do, like, gaming or something like that. It's just directing you to look at what you want to see from the web. What are you looking for $45?
Well, a GPU for gaming would be fun. It would be nice. It would be nice if and I have no idea whose fault this is, if it's Google Cast's fault, if it's my Chromecast fault, or if it's Netflix's fault. But some of the bugs that I experience are when I stream Netflix via my phone, it constantly loses connection. Like, I can't just turn my phone on and pause. I turn my phone on, and if I'm lucky, I can stare at the Netflix app for about 30 seconds, and maybe it will gain connection, and I can have pause functionality. This becomes particularly annoying when the show is over and I want to stop watching, but it just goes on to the next episode. What I have to do is open a different app that supports Chromecast and hijack my own Chromecast from myself just to make it stop playing. I have no idea where the fault lies in that. If all it meant was to pay $10 more and get a new, better device, and it would fix that kind of problem, I'd be all over it. If that's Netflix's fault, then a better Chromecast won't do us any good. And then that's just little things like that are really not a huge deal in the long run. In my opinion, the device is still worth $35. I've gotten ridiculous amounts of use out of the $35 device that's the size of a USB thumb drive. But if I could spend just a little bit more money and get some bugs like that taken care of, I would do it. It would also be cool if there was some kind of gaming with the Chromecast. Not expecting to play, you know, Halo 5 on my Chromecast, but some fun little games would be cool. I played Hangman, and it was awful. I mean, it wasn't even formatted correctly. Like, the last word that I chose was a 6-letter word, but my whole phrase was so long that the last letter went down to the next row. Like, they couldn't even just get the formatting correct. It's just ridiculous. I think this is a huge missed opportunity not having some decent games.
That's a developer problem.
It is. But what are they working with? I mean, why is Hangman the most exciting game I've found for Chromecast?
Have you tried Doodlecast? Dude, Doodlecast is the bomb. I played Doodlecast with my kids. I'm sorry.
Drawing's not a game, John. People make a living doing that. It's serious stuff.
Listen, if you crack open Doodlecast, right, and you hand your phone to your kid and you're like, see the word there? You've got to like draw that on the screen for us. It's like Pictionary, but on the TV. It's awesome. You're crazy.
I'm sure it is. You know what I do like though? I like Photo Wall.
Photo Wall's good.
It's not a game either, but while we're talking about cool things in our games, Photo Wall is pretty cool. If you haven't seen that, you should check it out. It started out kind of stupid, because you couldn't like add pictures on the fly or something. I forget what it was you couldn't do. But you basically had to like choose the photos you wanted to add, and that was it. But now you can hop on there. Oh, I know what it was. You could only add new pictures. You could only open the app and then take pictures, and those pictures would get added to the wall. But now you can open the app and you can select from photos you've already taken on your phone or whatever, and it puts this really cool collage together, and you can save it as a video when you're done to YouTube, and so you can have a cool little MP4 of your photo wall. So if you're listening, watching, and you haven't checked that out, you should check it out.
I'm with you. Craig, what about you, sir? I mean, I know that we've honestly, Jane poo-pooed it a little bit.
I said I was excited about Comedy Central and Nickelodeon.
I know, but you just totally dissed it. You.
I poo-pooed Doodlecast.
You did.
Not even trying it.
You poo-pooed it. The Colbert Report and the Daily Show. Honestly, that is a win. And honestly, the Nickelodeon. If you have to sign in, I don't have Nickelodeon, right? Which sucks. I hate Comcast. I don't have Nickelodeon, but the kids miss it. We were actually watching Backyardigans from some videos we got from the library today. If you have to sign in with your user ID, for DirecTV or for Comcast, I'm not going to get it, so it's going to be a poo-poo. But Craig, the fact that Chromecast, James mentioned the fact that does this thing have legs? Is it going to continue? Are we going to see more improvements? I think with some of the things that I mentioned, the fact that market shares is better and better, more apps are jumping on board. What have been your experiences with the newer apps, and also where do you think Chromecast is gonna go? I mean, this is another Christmas season where it's available. Is this in it for the long haul?
I can reasonably foresee an update to the Chromecast device itself in the future, specifically support for 5 gigahertz and 4K rendering support. I think those are two things that the consumer market will catch up to eventually. Might not be this year, might not be next year, maybe the year after, because TV's getting bigger, but the quality hasn't jumped yet. As for the software, I think the measure that we should be tracking is how many smart TVs are integrating Google Cast. Because, I just activated OK Google on all of my stuff. I hate when that happens. Smart TVs are selling pretty well, and a lot of companies that make TVs are no longer making dumb televisions. And the problem with that is that smart TVs are horrible. Let's be honest. The apps are horrible, they never get updated, there's security threats out of the box because the TVs never get updated. I want a dumb television, John, but I want to be able to plug in a Chromecast as its brain. And I think a lot of people want that, because a lot of people don't want their entertainment brain to rely on software that they don't have control over. Replacing a Chromecast at $35 is a whole lot cheaper than replacing the TV because the software no longer works. So I think the integration of Google Cast, the ability to buy a smart television and not have to use any of the built-in apps, just be able to fling content from Netflix on your phone to it, is the measure of success we should be looking at. Not necessarily how well the dongle is selling, but how many vendors are picking up the software integration. I think that's where the future of Google Cast truly is, because dongles, they'll come and go, they'll get better over time, you can sell billions of them, but if the TVs come with it, that's when you're going to beat out the Amazon Fire Stick, the Roku, and the Apple TV. Because once you're integrated in the television, it's an immediate step up against all of the competitors. And Google has always been about the technology, not necessarily the devices it runs on. So my horse is attached to the Google Cast wagon. We'll see how it plays out. As for support on these new apps, I have read the fine print, and as far as I can tell, for watching The Daily Show and The Colbert Report, you do not need to sign in for next day viewing. However, for every other show, with the exception of South Park, you do have to sign in for the Comedy Central app. I don't have.
There's other shows.
A couple. One of them is Futurama, but that's on Netflix.
It got canceled like 5 years ago.
It's been canceled a couple times, but it is actually leaving Netflix. I heard they weren't able to secure it.
What?
Yeah, I think it runs out.
I've already watched it all twice.
But it might be the Canadian version. I have a lot of Netflix information in my head at the moment. So. Anyway, I am excited generally about the Chromecast, and we've got a ton of other Chromecast news up next. So let's get into that.
And we shall. Actually, I did want to mention something that I'd heard. Craig, you mentioned smart TVs. Panasonic is actually allowing, some of their software updates is allowing banner ads when you do like volume up on your TV. So like if you actually have it connected to the internet, you'll get a banner ad when you hit the volume key.
Yes.
What?
I would literally punch my television set. I would neck punch it.
Panasonic is doing that. Samsung is doing it. I actually did research today. I had a family member purchase a smart television recently, and I was building a case for returning it. And I have found that, yes, security reachers have been able to install malware on them. Yes, the manufacturer is now shipping ads. And yes, some of the companies that make them are secretly spying on you, like LG, which, as of last year, they were reading all content on USB devices plugged into the television.
Oh!
Yeah.
Dadgum! That is messed up.
Yeah, plus, I mean, they come with remotes now. How ancient are remotes? Aren't we done with those?
What the F, dude? Seriously. Remotes?
I know.
What happened to walking up to the TV with a pair of pliers and changing the channel?
Or using your your phone with your Chromecast or your watch. Just say, "Okay, Google, start playing Futurama on Netflix. Cast it."
Okay, Google, now define asinine.
That was
not going to do.
Extremely well played.
Hold on. Hold. Oh, here it comes.
Asinine, extremely stupid or foolish.
That's what I'm talking about. Just wasn't as fast as I wanted it to be. So that really infuriates me. I mean, it really does. Man. And I didn't know about the LG thing. Okay, all right, let's get off of that for a second. Let's go back to the Chromecast. So the wonderful dongle that Google has provided us is, oh, look at that. Did you literally? So we have a show notes. Of course, we use Google Docs. Who just added the whole Santa Tracker website thing? That's awesome.
I added like 30 news stories today, John.
Holy S! This show's going to go till 2 a.m. Awesome! So, anyway, You put it in between two Chromecast things I need to bundle together. What are you doing to me? You're killing me. You're killing me, Frank.
I've got a whole list of Chromecast stuff, and it ends on a high note.
As with everything should end on a high note. That sounded like a coin dropping in the Salvation Army tin. Anyway, all right. So, so it sounds. You know the sounds of Christmas. I'm all about the Christmas right now. We got our tree. I gotta go water it actually. So Chromecast overtakes Apple, and I'm gonna say that, and then also add the whole fact that Google has overtaken iPads in education sales, and you're thinking to yourself, Google doesn't make a tablet. No, they created a better device called a Chromebook with proper input for schools. I cannot believe schools paid. It just seems like just bandwagon jumping, people hitching their horses, like Craig said, to Apple wagons. Pisses me off. Anyway, what's a better tool for a kid? A laptop or a tablet? Making me go insane. Anyway, Chromecast.
What did you just do to the show note list?
I haven't touched it.
No, you're jumping all around, John. We got to keep this formulaic. I can't go off script here.
I didn't see that. Someone. Oh wait. Oh, that's the whole. Because someone put the Q3. I see it now. Craig's putting his cursor on it so I can see his name flag.
All right, let's back up a second, John. Before we jump into any Apple news whatsoever, we need to talk about the Santa Tracker, John. Every year, Google has the Santa Tracker, and it lets children track Santa across the globe. And this year, it has Chromecast support. So now you can track Santa on your television instead of your computer. And that's the revelation of 2014. The other news bit, John, is that Firefox for Android can now mirror tabs to your Chromecast. And this is a big deal because we still can't do that properly with Chrome for Android. It kind of works, but it doesn't work great. So, and we were talking about software adoption earlier and about TV vendors integrating Google Cast. Firefox is integrating Google Cast, and that's a big deal because Mozilla is a massive, not just organization, but they're a beacon to the overall open community. So with them embracing Google Cast, maybe we'll see integrated Linux support. Maybe. Probably not. But it would be nice.
Okay. Listen, you can go through the list of show notes properly, or you can understand how my mind works. I'm like Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. I see things that no one else sees, and I talk about them in an order which works in my brain. So.
Yeah, but now we can end on the high note, which is that, given all of this information, Chromecast outsold Apple TV this year. And that's the high note, because not only do we have all of these other bits and pieces of evidence saying that Chromecast is excellent, but now we have the consumer sales data to back that up.
Does beating Apple TV really mean anything, though?
It does, because Apple is the competitor, and if we beat them, we win.
They're a competitor, but
no, they are the competitor.
The competitor?
They are the competitor because of their where you share your screen. They have that screen sharing built in that Google hasn't really figured out yet. You can't do that on a Roku device, and you can't do it on Amazon Fire thing. But the screen sharing is a big reason why a lot of people do buy Apple TVs, so that they can mirror their iPhone to their TV and stuff like that. So, Apple to Apple, head-to-head, it is kind of a statement. Plus, Apple TV has been around for years, and the Chromecast, according to OMG Chrome, wasn't even in the top 5 brands in 2013. So they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but Apple TV costs like $100.
Well, a Chromecast
really
costs
that
like
fair of a
35.
comparison?
It
Right.
is. I would say it is because your average person is choosing a Chromecast over an Apple TV. Price is one factor, but it's not the only one. Apple has a large brand presence, and a lot of people buy Apple devices thinking that they're going to be easy to use.
Cheap.
Cheap is nice, but if it was junky cheap, John, they would be
No,
returning
I
it.
didn't say cheap. I said sheep. Like, bah!
I heard cheap. Cheap's on the mind. Because James had just said Chromecast is cheap and that's why it's selling. If the Chromecast offered a poor experience, people would be returning them. Because even at $35, that's worth a trip to the store to get your money back. But the fact that they're not,
It was a poor experience.
well, you're an exception to every rule, James. You're special.
James is.
How about that Nexus? The Nexus player. Is that the Chromecast killer?
I hope the Chromecast kills it, as my off-the-cuff opinion. I don't get Android TV.
You can play games on it.
No.
That's what James is looking for. James is like, games, hells yeah. But
You know, I could understand if they wanted to make a dedicated Android-based gaming system to compete with the PlayStation 4 or the Microsoft one, but I don't. That's not what the Nexus Player is designed for. It's designed to be the average living room entertainment thing, and people already buy separate gaming consoles to game.
yeah, but a PS4 is like $450.
Sure, and the people that are buying them are going to buy the next version. Because it has titles available that you aren't going to be able to buy for the Android TV platform.
What about people like myself who can't afford it?
James is like,
afford an
I need cheap
Xbox
games
One.
on my TV.
I want to play Flappy Bird on my TV.
Listen, I tell you what though, the Wii, not the Wii U, but the Wii has an extensive game collection.
Terrible.
No, the game list is enormous. Did you know that the Wii, not to get off subject of Google, but the Wii is actually, in the period of like the 6 years it's been available, has outsold the PS3 and the Xbox 360 because of the fact no, because of the fact that the titles have kept coming, games keep coming, and that it literally is a friendly device. So like retirement homes buy it. It's not like this black box with glowing blue lines. You know what I mean? It's like this. It's called a friggin' Wii, for God's sake. Like people are like, oh yeah, I'll buy a Wii. I'm not really a gamer, but I'll buy a Wii because they enjoy it, and it has things like Fit and other stuff like that. We're thinking about getting one. That's right. I'm thinking about getting a Wii.
But the Nexus player is cheaper.
I will sell you a used Wii.
Will you? How much? How much you got? $10. $10.
We'll talk after the show because we'll run the eBay auction prices and figure it out. But yeah, I love it. They turned off the Wi-Fi like multiplayer component for some of the games for like Mario Kart, so I stopped using it honestly after they turned that off because I was a big fan of Mario Kart, the original one that came with the Wii. Like it was released at the same time. Oh yeah, I even had the dedicated steering wheel. I'm like the guy you hate because he brings his own gear to the paintball store. Yeah, that's what I was like. I brought my own Wii steering wheel.
Can you root it and put Android on it?
You can root it. I don't know if you can put Android on it.
I want CyanogenMod on my Wii.
I think that's a stretch. Well, actually, tell you what, you probably can, but not in India. Oh, did you guys not hear about that?
What?
Oh, CyanogenMod is in hot water because they are the platform of choice for the OnePlus One smartphone, and
Okay.
OnePlus One wanted to sell the device in India, but CyanogenMod already had an exclusive contract with someone else to distribute CyanogenMod in India. So now OnePlus One has a lot of phones geared up to be sold in India, and they can't put them on the shelves.
Oh, that is terrible.
It's a really big deal. And by the way, we're talking about India. Shout out for Dinson. He's listening live.
Dinson, what's up?
Oh, is he? What's up, man? What's up?
Well, he can't talk back.
I'm saying, what's up? Anyway, Dinson, of course, is Dinson Francis from Chromestory.com, which, of course, a couple of our links in today's show are from Chrome Story. At least I think they are. Are they from today's show? I think they are. Yeah, I've got a couple in there. Yeah. Dinson's like, shout out. Word. So, all right. Man, talking about off track. Although Dinson was a good segue. He the man. Although,
Segue into what?
Segue into whatever. I've loaded Chrome Story like 3 times, and the CSS isn't loading. Are you guys having that problem? Anyway, try that. Dinson.
Are you using Safari?
Check that out. Yes, James, I'm using Safari.
No, the CSS didn't load for me either.
Oh, wait, no, it didn't.
Never go into Chrome Story again.
No, it did. That's weird. That's weird. Dinson, check that out.
Dinson, fix it now. Quick.
Fix it.
There it is. It's good.
Fix it.
See, he fixed it.
He must have, because it's like literally working again. By the way, TuneIn.com, also available for the Chromecast. Really good people over there. I ended up talking to a number of reps, a number of people, because they're getting into the podcast game, and good people. So if you like TuneIn, check out that app for Chromecast. I use Player FM for my dedicated podcast app, though. I'm just trying to like level the playing field. Craig, James, do you guys listen to podcasts? I mean, seriously, like break it down.
Podcasts are stupid, to be honest. I don't know why anyone would listen to a podcast. A couple of guys talking about stuff no one cares about.
You are killing me right now. Craig?
I do. I have a few. The Bugle is off air at the moment, and it's driving me crazy because I will completely forget about it if I don't have it popping up once a week, and then I will remember that it existed at one point in time, and I will get this immediate wave of sadness, and then it'll dissipate and life will resume. But it's just those little moments, John. And so podcasting in general, it reminds me of those moments. Like right now, all I can think of is sadness. I don't have much to add to this discussion.
Okay. I listen to podcasts like a fiend. Like I soak them in. The only problem is that I've been stuck on one network, and that is Jupiter Broadcasting. So, for all those who are fans of Jupiter Broadcasting, all of their shows, I'm right there with you. So, anyway, so I think what we'll do is we'll wrap up with the 2 last topics that we're gonna bring up today, unless we derail again. And this one, we will, we will, James. Amazon Instant Video now works on UK Chromebooks. Now, I haven't read the article, but whoever wrote the clickbait of the title of that article, whether that be Joey or whoever wrote the show notes for that one, I'd have to turn on the changes feature to see who wrote that. But oh no, it was Joey. So, do we have access to Amazon Instant Video?
Yes. The difference here was that the UK users were still using the Silverlight plugin for DRM protection, whereas in the United States we have the ability to switch to the Flash-based version. And I believe this now basically enables the Flash version of their Instant Prime player for UK users as well, which isn't a huge deal on the technical side, but on the user experience side, it basically means Silverlight is no-go on Chromebooks and Flash is out of the box. So Amazon Instant Video should now work out of the box on all Chrome devices in the UK. So while you may not be able to get a package delivered there, at least they can deliver you television.
All right. Excellent. So Silverlight. Really?
Really?
I mean, like, literally, that's like, it only lasted as long as it did because of Netflix, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is, you know what? Yes, I'm going to go on a little bit of a diatribe. But I heard a little bit of a lecture on I don't know what it was, a lecture or something else, but it talked about how open source technologies, bear with me, don't have a trickle down effect. Because I know that there is a open source, there's open source stuff to pretty much take care of everything, but it's the big companies that end up making like the decisions. That's just kind of terrible. That's all I'm going to say about that. It sounds like a tangent. Sounds like a non sequitur. My point is that Silverlight was Microsoft's version of Adobe Flash. And literally, if you bought into it and you rode that train like Netflix did, people like Linux users, Chromecast users, or Chrome OS users were left in the cold, right? So it's just one of those things where that annoys the poop out of me, and I'd rather not see that. Anyway, sorry. Random thoughts. Do you guys want to talk about the fact that Chromebooks are beating iPads? You know my thoughts on it. Craig?
Well, I wonder for how much longer, because if this boot loop issue continues.
Oh, ouch, Craig! You're not supposed to say things like that.
No, I'm not.
I mean, you're right.
I'm happy, obviously. I know. I know I'm right. That's the worst part. Obviously, it's great news. Basically, the article that Dinson wrote states that according to IDC, Google shipped 715,500 Chromebooks to U.S. schools, while Apple shipped 702,000 iPads. So it's not a massive difference here. We're not talking 50 million. We're talking a difference of, oh goodness, like 12,000-ish, between 12 and 13,000. I'm going to get so much hate mail. So it's not a huge, massive number, so they're pretty tied. But the fact that they're pretty tied is really neat, because iPads dominated early on. Schools just had to have them because the students were buying them outside of school. So obviously bringing iPads into the schools would make students' attention spans be brought back into learning or something. I'm not really clear on all of that. I didn't sit in on the pitch meeting. But I've heard those Apple reps, they're pretty convincing. So it's good to hear that Chromebooks are at least matching, if not occasionally exceeding, iPad sales. From the few IT admins I've spoken to, the biggest difference is just the ease of management. iPads are a pain in the butt to manage remotely. Lots of third-party software, really hard to lock down, and that's just from the management perspective. We can get into breakage and stuff like that later, or never, because it's already an hour and 16 minutes. But Chromebooks, the management really is a breeze. You can add third-party software if your ethics allow for that. But out of the box, the management software is very easy and very comprehensive. And that's what sets them apart from iPads from a management perspective. From a budgetary perspective, they're cheaper. from a school board perspective, the iPads may get them reelected.
Exactly. Ah. Meh. Meh. I feel like they're all sheep. I feel like they're all sheep.
I don't want that going on the record because I don't think they're all sheep. I disagree, though, because iPads in the classroom do serve a purpose.
No, they do not.
They do.
No, not for the student. For the teacher, yes. And that's one of the reasons why Lenovo made the Yoga, complete convertible model. Because yes, the teacher needs to flip it out and be like, here's my device that I can hold up without the keyboard and do things with it. The source of with me, Craig. I think that tablets are not a good learning device once you get past kindergarten.
That's probably... I agree with that statement. I don't think they're the best, but I think any technology in the classroom is a step forward compared to what a lot of school districts have. And I think for the young kids, the iPad interface does appeal more than a Chromebook interface. I think 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade is where Chromebooks could start to be introduced. But when you're talking kindergarten, 1st grade, those are where you really need to fine-tune your fine motor skills with drawing and writing and things like that. The keyboard, I have a little bit of an issue with introducing keyboards too early. I do think that kids need to develop those fine motor skills. I mean, we learned cursive in the 2nd grade. I've never used it since, but it did really get a lot of the kids that hadn't quite got the writing thing down to focus on getting the writing thing down.
High five for block writers. Come on.
Boom. Boom. So I think iPads make sense early on, or touchscreen devices in general. But I think the addition of a keyboard later in the elementary school era makes a lot of sense too. Fair enough?
I actually believe in touch typing instead of cursive. I think that in my job and in all the jobs that I've had since I was 20, if I wasn't a touch typist, I'd be left behind. So, and whether or not, we could get into debates about Dvorak versus QWERTY. No one's really going to debate that. I think that it's actually a more important skill than writing out the words in cursive. I don't know. Maybe I'm. It's the difference between having a notebook where you write stuff down, or you have a notebook, laptop, and you're typing out the notes or you're writing them. Some people say, "Oh, well, you can't lose that skill of writing," and I agree. You need to know how to write, but unless there's an apocalyptic problem where computers go completely away, the kids need to learn how to write, and then they need to know how to type. I think we're literally at that stage now. No, I think we lost Craig. James, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, shoot.
He
James,
said he died.
What are your thoughts on cursive versus keyboard typing?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that my kids aren't learning cursive in school, because talk about a waste of freaking time. Secondly, I agree with you. I think iPads are, I guess, look, I had no electronic devices in school besides a couple Macintosh things that let me play Oregon Trail. That was it. That turned out fine. And lots of people are incredibly smart, and great members of society, and they didn't have any electronic devices in school, so really an iPad or a Chromebook isn't necessary. However, they do make a lot of things easier. For instance, you don't have to worry about breaking pencils and whatnot if you just have a stylus and an iPad. Little things like that. But an iPad is like $800 and a Chromebook is like $200 or $300. So I can't imagine why anybody would ever choose to buy 100 iPads over 100 Chromebooks, especially when you're talking about giving these devices to kids who we all know are destroyers of things.
James says you've mentioned that before. They're the destroyer of things. Although you make that sound like more than just stuff, like lives.
Come on, John, you're a father. You know what I'm talking about. They're destroyers of things.
I had a really rosy evening where my 3-year-old finally learned how to pee on a potty. So I'm glowing with kids are awesome at the moment.
Just wait till they're backing your car into a stop sign, or forgetting to raise the garage door before driving out of the garage.
Yeah, well, if I had a garage, that'd be nice. Okay, James.
Sorry if I hit a nerve there.
You did.
I have a pretty sweet garage for what it's worth.
Can you get that knife out of my bag?
My garage is bigger than my house. And that is not a joke. I looked at the floor plan, and it's a few square feet larger than my house.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, so destroyer of things. Now, I will tell you this. I was listening to a podcast today, and they said that, and I haven't validated this or verified it, but the schools usually are buying like the older model of iPad, and they are kind of given a discount because they're buying in bulk and they're buying in education, so they're like $300 to $400 usually for an iPad. So they're not as expensive as a consumer model, where people are like, I'm buying something cool and it's expensive. Can't even make the sheep noise at this point. So they are reduced in price, and they do almost come to the same price as a Chromebook, especially with the licensing and everything with the Chromebook. But you're right, technology in the hands of the kids, and Craig said the same thing. Any technology in the hands of the kids and being creative is a good thing. I'll leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. Drop the mic. So, Craig, good to have you back, sir.
Good to be back, John. I enjoyed my miniature vacation.
That's right. I don't know what word you just said. What'd you just say?
Miniature vacation.
Oh, miniature vacation. I thought you said miniature vacation, and I was like, miniature vacation. What's a miniature? Don't mind me.
I didn't miss much, did I?
Well, you did. James talked about kids being the destroyer of things.
Yeah, but I've heard that spiel before.
I talked about a 3-year-old learning how to use the potty.
Well, that's new. Congrats.
It is pretty cool. A lot of high-fiving going on in my house.
I think you just teach my 8-year-old. Just kidding.
I was going to say, that's not nice. That's not nice at all.
She's 9.
Okay. All right, last on the list of news, and I think we'll end on this. We'll bring this up, and we'll talk about it. And I'm going to poo-poo it, but whatevs. Convertible Acer touchscreen Chromebook in 2015. So let's recategorize. We have an Acer C720, this beauty right here. Well, this cable is attached as I video chat with my guns. my Camons. We have the Acer C720P, right, which is the touchscreen model of the Acer C720, which just basically weighs an extra pound and has a nice touchscreen.
Weigh an extra pound, for the record.
It does. It's like literally like 10 ounces.
Acer does.
It's like 10 ounces. Maybe
I don't believe you.
And now there's the possibility. There's the rumor. And again, this is from Didn't Sound Over Chrome Story, whose CSS is loading properly. Basically, they're talking about a convertible Acer touchscreen. James, you have the P model, which means touch, again for some strange reason. It's got that whole 4 pounds extra weight to it because of the touchscreen. Do you think you need a convertible model?
First of all, according to the very reputable website chromeup.com, the two models weigh exactly the same. Secondly, I don't know what a convertible touchscreen means. You might have to elaborate on that. I don't feel like going to Chrome Story's website right now.
Okay, first of all, while I totally love chromeup.com, I love it. It's a great site. I pretty much go there every day. But there is a weight difference between the P and the non-P.
Have you owned both devices, John?
I have not owned them, but I've handled both of them. No, not weird. I've had one for 4 weeks, the P model, and I've had the C720 since January of 2014. So, I'm saying.
I've owned both of them. I don't notice a difference.
Do you have both of them in your hand right now? Can you put them on scales? Like this little number here. I'm making both hands make undulating upward and downward motions. As if I were Lady Justice without the scales. I'm trying to find my document where I actually list out how much they weigh. Because I did make a document, so I could actually give you the pinpointed amount. Because I weighed them on a male scale, and I don't mean literally a guy holding stuff and being like, this one's heavier. I did it on a male scale, but a male is in the Pony Express. And
you lost me.
It was a terrible joke. Hold on a second. Did Craig disappear again? Craig, what do you have to say for yourself?
He just got tired of us arguing. He left.
Well, if you had read the article, this rumor is from Digitimes, so I don't really know why we're even giving any time to it.
Oh, we don't give bad press to anybody but Digitimes.
Well,
also Microsoft and Apple and. Sorry.
Well, they all blow. Digitimes is man, if Craig is literally not down with somebody, they're bad.
Well, let's see.
John and
What's the most politically correct way to say this?
Who cares? Just say the truth.
Okay. The only lottery I would ever consider entering is one where Digitimes bought all of the tickets but mine. Because they're right about 1 in a million times. So, guaranteed winner. Yay.
That about sums it up.
I don't know what the heck you just said to my face. I don't know what's going on.
I didn't say it to your face. All that's in view is your hat.
I'm just saying. I don't know what happened there. What? I gotta find this doc. You've gotta talk about something to find it because I know that I weighed them and I found them wanting. What? Where? Hold on. Hold on a second. Is it that one? Of course, I'm like doing like 17 million things on my network, so my system's like.
The P is 0.22 pounds heavier.
That's like 80%.
According to Acer.
It's like 80% heavier.
0.22 pounds.
Like I said, I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for my math this episode. It's very off the cuff. No calculators. This isn't a well-oiled, well-produced show.
It's 7.9% heavier.
Did you use a calculator?
I might have.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man, I've got to find this document. Bear with me here. So, I'm pretty sure it was a good, like, 5 to 10 ounces heavier, which doesn't sound like much.
I don't know what 0.22 pounds translates into in ounces.
Now, we can Google that. 0.22 pounds to ounces. 3.52 ounces.
No, it was more than that.
Killer. Oh, man. How do you even lift it?
I know, it's crushing.
You know,
the HP14 weighs about 6 pounds more than the Acer.
I was going to say, you were the one that actually was like, oh yeah, I agree with you. The whole, the 14's heavy as a, you know.
I scoffed at people who said that until I got an Acer.
This is what I'm saying, dude. So like 5 ounces makes a difference. None of you believe me. Oh, by the way, by the way. So we at my work they purchased Lenovo's, right, which are great devices. I love my Lenovo. I've got my dope whip that I rock out at work every day. Right here. The thing is a champion. I have an extended battery, so I get like 6 hours battery life on a Windows device with a Core i5. And I love this thing. Like these Lenovo's have been great. When we did our Lenovo episode, we had one gentleman who was commenting on the fact that and I have a T430, and I know this is random, but the other day I'm at work and I'm in a meeting, and I'm like, hey. And I noticed that the power port was the one that we'd found on the Lenovo models that I received. It was the one that's shaped just like a USB. And the person, the guy that had commented on our stuff was talking about the fact that Lenovo has taken a huge dive when it comes to like the quality and like if you're into the ThinkPad line, they've changed things so dramatically that people hate it. And yeah, it's true. That thing, the new 440 already is getting like terrible reviews at my work. So just putting it out there. The 430, 410, 420, all great models. Man, those 440s, the newest line with the whole like square, crazy power port. Anyway, and I can't find my dock, but I'm just saying that the P model's heavier. It's a lot heavier. I know I've got.
According to Acer, it's 0.22 pounds heavier. I will give you that. It is technically heavier.
Asinine.
All right, John. I think it's gonna be a wrap. I think we've been through. I can't even load Google Docs now. We've been through all the articles, and we've talked about the Android apps on Chrome. Mr. Tumbleson, let me get your final thoughts. Yes, your Jerry Springer final thoughts on today's episode, along with the where people can find you, in case they're really looking.
Well, my final thoughts are, for anyone that still listens to this show,
we're sorry.
Well, not only do I want to apologize, but I would like to say that for future listens, we usually just start rambling after about the hour mark, so I have nothing against just tuning out about that point. I know there's been some discussion about this on the fan forums, and we've gotten a few letters, and I think Wired mentioned something, one of their editors tweeted about it. So I just wanted to address it publicly. I know there's been a lot of discussion, and we've been heated about this, but yeah, I was going for a whole whatever, that podcasting network that keeps getting themselves in trouble and trying to talk about it on air, and it didn't land. Okay. People can find me on Google Plus if they're still listening. I wouldn't.
That was jacked up. Anyway, go ahead. Keep going.
Please don't. Please don't make me keep talking, John.
Okay. Listen, I love talking. That's why I'm on a podcast. So I can talk for all three of us if need be, but I'm not going to, because I think that Craig, you have valuable insight into what's going on in the world of Chrome, and I Thanksgiving was just the other day, and I want to thank you for being on the show. I think it's been a pleasure all year. So thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, of course. Of course.
Mr. Wellness.
This is the worst episode ever.
No, stop. Go listen. What are your final thoughts?
Oh man. I don't know if my final thoughts are appropriate for the internet. Android apps on Chrome is stupid. Chromecast is awesome. And you can find me on Google Plus.
All right. And you can find me, I'm John Oliphant, on the Google Pluses. Yes. You can find me there. And I do hope that everyone has a good rest of the week, and that next week we're going to come back. It's just as strong as this episode. Maybe it'd be better, because according to James, it's the worst episode. Which makes me feel great, James. Thanks for thinking of my feelings.
Hey, you thanked Craig for being on the show. You didn't thank me for being on the show.
Oh,
if you want to talk about feelings,
you're absolutely right. And I, you know what? I do apologize. You're absolutely right. I was on a tangent and I forgot. I do apologize. I think that over the past year, which we've been on the air, so to speak, I think that James, I thank you, sir. It's been a great ride. I think we've had a lot of fun. I think we've learned a lot. I think that Google has done well by having us as a show out there. That's what I think. And I think that, James, you did add a great deal of insight. I think that, and I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thanks for being on the show. Is that what you wanted?
Thanks.
So, anyway, to all the listeners out there, thanks for watching this episode of Practical Chrome. We will see you next week.